I'm Craig Milne from Aberdeen originally. How old am I now? 43. I've been, was I 7 years at university? So I went from school to university. I did degrees in Aberdeen in law, and then I did 2 degrees in Glasgow. I did a maths degree and then a master's in IT. And then I went over to Dublin, Ireland, where I started working in e-commerce sales, and I've been there for 18 years, and I'm now working at Microsoft, looking after e-commerce sales in Europe.
Oh, that's great. Wonderful.
Wonderful.
We just want to introduce ourselves as
Yes,
well.
I'm Vadim. I'm first year student studying politics and international relations, and I'm the president of Alumni Network Society.
My name is Anastasia. I'm a second year student for international business, and I'm interviewer for Alumni Network Society, and it's a pleasure to have you here.
Oh, thank you.
Okay, the first question is, could you please tell me about your decision to attend University of Aberdeen? What factors influence your choice?
Well, I'm from Aberdeen, so
Okay.
like my parents were living there at the time, so it's that was probably the biggest factor. I lived at home when I went to university in Aberdeen, but it also offered I hadn't a clue what I wanted to study. And this was in the days when you used to send off and you actually got big books of prospectuses from universities, and I just kind of browsed through them and said, oh, I could do law. I've got the grades for doing it, so I could do that. So I ended up applying around the various Scottish universities for law. I just kind of got accepted in Aberdeen, got accepted in Glasgow, and it was easier to stay in Aberdeen at the time, and that's basically why I did it. There's not much logic to it. I didn't have this great career path planned where I was going to study law and I was going to do it in Aberdeen. I just ended up looking through prospectuses and decided, why not give it a go.
You see, for your law degree, what were some of your favorite courses during your time at university?
Oh, courses. Now, that is asking. Look, I look back at it now, and some are easier than others, some are more interesting than others. If you're doing criminal law or you're doing family law, they're more interesting, they're more engaging than doing something like property law or conveyancing or trusts and succession, those type of things. So I enjoyed the courses where there was more of a story to it. You kind of felt more engaged. But things that we also were able to study things like forensic medicine, and I happened to do a completely optional course in cosmology in my third year. And look, you're at university. You're around a lot of smart people that are willing to just talk to you and help you learn things. And it's great for your brain. Like, looking back on it now, it's a great mind-opening experience just to sort of have all of those things. And honestly, I think if I was doing it again, I'd probably do something random like a history course or, something else as well, just to sort of mix it up a bit, just so that you have that more broader education and exposure to things.
That's great, thank you. Were there any particular challenges or obstacles you faced during your time in university?
No, well, not really, no. I mean, look, I'm pretty academic, so I can go and study, and I pick things up really quickly. I don't have any disabilities or anything where I would find, because there's an awful lot of reading when you're doing a subject like law. I didn't find any challenges there, so that was good. I think certainly when I was at Aberdeen, living at home isn't the easiest from a social life perspective. I think, one of the things at the university, which I found, especially when I moved down to Glasgow, is when you're not living at home, you have a bit of a different student experience. You go out a bit more, it's that aspect of it, I think, is important as well. So I think I would say, try and avoid staying at home. You don't get questioned, when are you going to be home? What time? And those things. So I think that would be a bit. In terms of the actual academic side of it, no, absolutely fine. No challenges.
Yeah, cool. Did you engage in any social activities or clubs, organizations?
Not really. I joined a couple in Freshers Week. I joined the Scottish National Party in Freshers Week. Never went to any of their meetings. Got the literature for a year or two, and that was it. And I think no. I mean, really, it was. I think it's something that and I did it much more in Glasgow. I think when you're living away from home, I think it's a very, very good way to sort of make new friends and get into things that interest you. But I didn't join. I joined, but I didn't go to any in Aberdeen University.
Fair enough. And did you make any lifelong connections, like friendships?
Yeah. No, that's a very good part of it. No, I'm in touch with some people from Aberdeen University still. When I'm up in Aberdeen, I'd make a point of going and visiting. I've got, let's say, 4 or 5 good friends from my time at Aberdeen University. And as it turns out, we were all living at home at the time. So, we sort of had, people who I think were in halls of residence or whatever had a slightly different experience, whereas we sort of, we would meet up every, whatever, week or so, we'd go out for drinks in the town. And we've stayed in touch through the years.
Very cool. And what inspired you to switch from law to information technology?
Wow, that was really, I think I said at the start when I was doing law, I was kind of like, let's browse through the prospectus, let's see what there is. Both my parents thought it was a curious decision to do law in the first place. Now, look, I enjoyed it. I did well. I got the prize for the top graduate. Great. But I didn't see myself doing it as a career. I didn't see myself being a solicitor, being an advocate, going off to be a corporate lawyer. So I just went off to do what I actually would have enjoyed from school, which was maths. Then I realized, okay, I might want to do something else here because what does this actually get me? So I did an IT degree. I did some Java programming. And I got my master's in IT with software. And then those were the things that really sort of got me going a bit more. Like those are the things I was more passionate about. Law was fine, but it just wasn't going to be a career path.
Yeah, fair enough. And can you describe your job and responsibilities as the head of e-commerce merchandising? And what are some of the challenges and benefits that come with this job? And how do you overcome the challenges that come your way?
Well, what I do, I kind of work in. Sorry. Go ahead. I kind of work in e-commerce website sales. So think of it as being like Xbox consoles and games, Surface devices, Office software. Those products that we would sell. And I would do it worldwide. So I used to look after the European stores. Now I'm sort of looking at process and tooling in a worldwide perspective for the organization. Look, our job is basically to make money. It's working for an American corporation. They report results every quarter. It's all about, how much growth are you getting? How much sales are you able to get? So in particular for us, it's about when you have a customer on the website, you've got to cross-sell them to other things, accessories for the price. You get an Xbox console, get a second controller. That's really the job. It's all about maximizing revenue.
Yeah.
We look at analytics and data and all that to make sure that we're doing the right thing. But it's also about making sure the customer gets the most from the products that they have. Like that's a big thing that Microsoft do. It's not just about the dollar amount and squeezing every last bit of money out of a customer. It's about making sure that the customer is actually using what they have. I think we do a better job with that on the commercial side, but we do it on the consumer side as well, trying to make sure the customers get whatever. Anyway, challenge-wise, it's a worldwide role, but American companies tend to be very US focused. Mm-hmm. So you have a lot of people in the US who are trying to do something globally at scale for as low a cost as possible. And often they don't understand all of the different cultures, languages that they have to deal with. So one of the big things that we would do in the European, as well, I'm not in the European role anymore, but in the European team, is we would try to make sure that we're doing business in compliance with European Union requirements, that we've got the right privacy things in place and all that. And where I kind of get a lot of stuff coming to me is because I've got the background with e-commerce for like 18 years, but also I've got the legal background and I've got the programming background. What often comes my way is these things that, where we have engineers, lawyers, and business people in talking about things, and I can kind of translate. I know what a lawyer is speaking about. Like, I mightn't have all the detail that they have, but I know enough. So I can understand what they're saying, and I can understand what a software engineer is saying, but often they don't understand each other. So I kind of act as sort of a translator, just basically because of the experiences that I've had over the years, coming from university experiences, even through a professional career. I can kind of act as that translator. So I sort of get all of these sort of legal compliance projects that we have to implement on the stores, and I do a lot of tooling and process and algorithm design for how we're going to, even nowadays, you'll probably see a lot of artificial intelligence in the news. Like, we're looking at how we can integrate. Artificial intelligence is a very broad term. Effectively, what we're saying is we're going to be implementing a little bit more machine learning, a little bit more automation, but that's all being branded as artificial intelligence these days. But, it's how we implement those into our tools and processes. And again, my background helps with that. And we are hopefully going to become more efficient as the years go on. But, these things take time. Sorry, that's a bit of a rambling answer.
No, that's a
Amazing
great
answer.
response. And you also attended Aberdeen in 1998. And how would you say your mindset and way of working have changed since attending university? And would you consider that university had a significant impact on development of yourself as an individual?
Oh, completely. I mean, like, I went to university as a child. I left as a man. Like, that's very sort of cliched. But I mean, I'm going at 17. And what you know at 19 is different to what you know at 17, and then at 21, and then at 25. Like, you pick up all of these experiences over the years. I think what university teaches you is, you've got all that academic stuff. You've got to look out for yourself. Like, nobody is going to force you to do something for your course. If you don't do the work, that's on you. So you've kind of got to take that extra responsibility for yourself, and just, you're responsible for your career, for your choices, for your basically for everything that you do. And that's kind of what university teaches you. You're kind of on your own. There is a support system there if you want it, but you've basically got to be the person looking out for yourself. And you don't quite get that to the same extent from school, because there's always somebody chasing up on you and making sure that you're doing the work. The teacher is always on at you. Whereas university, that's not the case. You're pretty much independent, and it's I wouldn't quite say sink or swim, but you've really got to look out for yourself. And you kind of learn that over the years, and you just kind of keep accumulating all of these experiences. And I think university is probably one of the most profound experiences that I've had in life. It's probably taught me more than anything else, and not just the academic side, just in terms of how to do things and how to look after things.
Yeah, that's an amazing answer.
That's great. And the next question is, we are now facing a very stressful period for us, exams. How did you manage stress, and did that really matter, like the whole grade thing? Do you have any tips for students that are struggling with stress, how to cope with it?
I think everybody's different. I'm very I was fine with exams. I think it depends on the subject. So I've got the experience of law and maths. They're very different. Law, you basically have to memorize everything. Memorize the case names, so you have your authorities, so you can basically say, in whatever case, Donahue and Stevenson, this happened, or in this case, whatever this happened. You've got to have your authorities, and it's basically a memory game. Maths is more about spotting a pattern, and you've got to memorize a few things, but it's more about knowing how to do something in an algorithmic way, knowing, I have to do this thing now, and being able to apply that to a new scenario. IT is a bit different again, but it varies what you have to do to prepare for an exam. But look, I think there's no point, and I know this is a terrible thing to say, right? There's no point in getting stressed about it. You've almost just got to embrace it and be comfortable. Because if you get stressed about exams, it's not going to go well.
Yeah.
Like I remember, I messed up one of my exams in it was fourth year maths in Glasgow. I messed up one of them, and I was kind of like, okay, crap. But I had the second exam that day, and that didn't go as well as it should have gone because I was stressed about the first exam in the second exam. And you really have to try and dissociate. It's very hard because you're thinking, this is my chance. This is my degree. I've got to get this exam right. But really, it's not as important as you think. You've just got to do all your work, and I wouldn't say hope, but if you've done all your prep, you've done all your work, just go into the exam with as little stress as you can, and that's I think how you do the best. So I don't like doing the last minute cramming the night before. I like to have it all done way in advance and just relax through the exams.
Yeah. Oh, I have exam tomorrow, so thank you for this.
What's your exam? Sorry.
Intermediate microeconomics.
Okay.
Yeah, it's gonna be fine.
Okay,
Hopefully.
well, good luck with it.
Thank you. Did you engage in any internships or part-time job during your time?
I had a few jobs, but it was more summer jobs. It wasn't really interns. It wasn't something that would go towards sort of my career. It wouldn't be anything I put in my CV. It was more, getting some money together during the summer. So I would do cleaning jobs. I worked on the trains for a day, just temping. I've worked in kitchen porter jobs. I've worked in a polystyrene factory. Like just various things over the summer just to build up enough money in order to kind of go through the next year.
Yeah, very good. Thank you. Can you share any advice or insights for individuals interested in pursuing your type of career?
I think so. What I've seen through the years is I got a lucky break, I think, because I had a pretty good academic record, and that got me an interview. I got a lucky break at a time when e-commerce was expanding quite rapidly, and they were just looking for people. Got my foot in the door, and then it kind of went from there. So I would say that was kind of more of the lucky break stuff. I've seen that a few times with people, but more often than not, what is good is the networking side of it, and it is who do you know? And there's this thing coming up here. You might want to apply. I'm not a hiring manager at the moment, but I've been a hiring manager many times in the past in my career. And look, you get hundreds of applications. HR departments have got basically tools, bots that sift through CVs quickly, and they reduce them using just keyword searches to a smaller number. It's hard. You're competing with a lot of people. So if you're, one of the 600 applicants or whatever, chances are the hiring manager is probably not going to see your CV. So the networking side of it is definitely more important. And I have hired people who just randomly reach out to me on LinkedIn, or they are a friend of a friend who's, someone's working on the store, basically. They're a friend of a colleague, effectively coming and saying, look, do you have a role? It's like, yeah, do you want to interview for it? And then, they come into the interview and they're fine, they're good. Because the person who has recommended them kind of knows they're going to fit well in the role. So the networking side of it is very important, and just having, contacts in the sort of the kind of companies in the career that you want to get into.
Great, thank you. And the last question, do you have any advice for students who are about to finish their degree, what to do next?
It's experience. It's basically just, try and do whatever you can to get your foot in the door somewhere. Whether that's an internship, whether that's even, a job that mightn't be quite right I think if you get a job somewhere, you'll start to get contacts. If it's in roughly the right area, you'll start to get contacts and take it from there. And I think that kind of it just opens more doors later.
Yes.